Hi, everybody. Happy day. Thanks for joining. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the feminine divine and this new age and energy and healing and kind of tie it all in together and share some educational books with you because in this, as we call it, new age, so there is nothing new under the sun because as we investigate and as we go within and understand ourselves, our bodies, and our connection to everything, we begin to correlate and practice, and then we're able to heal. And we go into depths. We need to go into depths. That's what this new time is about. And so when I say nothing is new under the sun, as we go into ourselves and recognize we are the universe, we are the sun, we are the planets. I'm going to talk about that today and bring some sharing. All right, so I want to start with talking about the feminine divine, and I'm going to share with you a few books that will help aid in understanding these things. So in my quest, I was basically connected already, even though I didn't really know I was connected. I had gotten the message about 2005 that God is also a woman and to embrace that. And I started thinking about it. As we look at ourselves, we are both our parents, right? Our mom and our dad, no matter how it is that we came in. And so in that moment of creation, we are just a thought. We are just kind of a beginning. We're not really a form yet. And so in that thought and in that beginning, we are looked at as female. And actually, when you're in the womb for the first 8 weeks, all embryos are female. And then this chemical washes over and changes. There's all these chemicals that are there from your parents, and they change as you're developing to create a boy from the female. So in the beginning, everything is female, and even in that name, you hear male. And so in this, I want to bring up this book, The Sibyls. Now, in this, she shares a lot of history. My own personal wording that I would put to this is indigenous. I want to bring up kind of a basic thought. We've been talking about the Amazons, and we talk about the ancient Egyptian, ancient Sumerian, ancient Ethiopian histories. And in this, what is missing is kind of the connection. There is a whole continent that hosts the Amazon River. It's not in Africa. So this is where the Toltecs and Olmecs are, and we must understand also that there was a time that the waters were lower, and the earth may have appeared closer together. And so I want to bring up a movie, Moana, where she talks about how her family are voyagers and how they used to go from island to island. This is all of us. We all used to do this, and we are all of the earth, and we all look like the earth. So we come in many colors. Most of us on this planet are brown. And even if you're considered white, no one is actually white. They're actually various shades of tan. So brown, lighter and lighter and lighter. So this brings us back to the Dark Mother, the Mami Watus, the Sibyls, the prophetesses that knew and could connect with the divine. Now, this did include men because they understood the same thing, that they were both their mother and their father. And so they were, in many cases, embracing the knowledge of the feminine so that they could reach a mastery. women are, or the female is able to recreate a whole life within her. And men are a part of that. The seed is a part of that. And so in recognition that even the male is both part of his father and his mother, therein that is part of the mystery teachings, because we then understand that the creator, the grand creator, is formless in our conception, our perception, making us whole in this form. We are vibrations and sound. And so also with the feminine, this is a great, and also in spirituality and overstanding elements and the feminine, and also kind of the balance of the feminine and the masculine. This is a great book. She goes into a lot of detail about history, especially in the back of the book. I really appreciated that. So check this book out. And then, let's see if I have another book. Oh, okay. And so also in this is our healing, overstanding our past. The feminine divine. The feminine divine. When that is excluded, one of the things, this I think is critical thinking and narrowing things down. I would think about the whole of the all. And I looked at the people who are most, as we call it, suppressed, oppressed. And being brown, indigenous, I saw that first. I saw how so many people of color, brown, have been through so much on this planet. And so also there is a piece of us that remembers even if we don't consciously remember. And so in that I thought, wow, that's kind of messed up. And I put all these things together. I included the history that I was taught about Africa, the history that I was taught about all the different other countries than this one, the history I was taught about this country, and other countries. And so this country and other countries, different histories about the people who were already there, about the people who were brown, already living in these places, and what happened to them. So I saw that. But overall, what I really noticed is no matter what you look like, women are oppressed. You see that women are subjugated and oppressed in religion from the beginning. Eve eating the apple, so she's bad, and then she talks Adam into eating the apple, and then it just goes on from there. Names like Jezebel, and what that has, the story that Mary Magdalene was a prostitute and saved by Jesus. These are actually also stories about fathers in the Bible offering their daughters to people to be used sexually. So there's a lot of misteaching in all of this. There's a lot of misteaching, and there's a lot put upon the woman. And then also, right after Corinthians 13, which is one of my favorites in the Bible, it talks about how a woman is not supposed to ask any questions. She must go to her husband first. What? So the reason why I bring up the book of the Sibyls and then we go into the healing is to kind of put the swirl of time and the swirl of misinformation back together and then repattern it. Okay. In the Sibyls, it talks about how everything, and actually if you look at certain religions to this day and certain cultures, they are matrilineal, meaning that everything is handed down through the mother. The religion is handed down through the mother. Any kind of practices are handed down through the mother. That's how you're noted. And when we have a whole society that engages in the condoning of how women are treated around the world, especially via religion. And look how many things have happened on this beautiful planet behind the ideas of self-righteous religion. When in my world, a creative God is not okay with us taking anything via harm and torture. And then to this day to continue like, la, 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 you know, everything that happened here started from this point and it was all nice and we had Thanksgiving. And if that was true, this whole world would be different. This country would be different. I keep getting a bunch of calls. Cool. Okay. So moving on to the healing part. So when we see these, all right, through religion, a lot of what has been handed down is through Sibyls or through the words of the great mothers. Now, I'm bringing up the Bible because the Bible, if you change this letter to an S, it becomes Holy Sibyl. And so what has happened is the word of the divine feminine has been manipulated into teaching us to believe that the male is what God looks like, is what is right, is what is justice, and then a lot of the culture has put us into a position, well, I'm going to rephrase that. This seeming construct looks like the female must prove and do all this. And then we have these projections of like the supermom who is gorgeous and thin and soccer mom, and she takes her daughter to ballet and she looks great and she always has a great attitude and she's sexy and she's there for her man all the way till whatever, and then everything's perfect, and that is just not realistic. And a lot of us are trying to push that, and then we ourselves have okay. So then we go into what has happened to almost 4 out of 5 women have been molested. Now, 4 out of 5 men have also been molested. That's not funny, but these are things that are not talked about. And this happens in our root chakra. And then what happens to our mental, the survival skills that we bring in and then hold on to, all the way to actually, and I speak for myself. What I'm seeing is, okay, we're in a time right now where the divines are coming together. The divines have woken up and they're coming together. Now, if the divines come together and either one of them has gone through any kind of trauma and have not been completely healed, the magic of the coming together, literally the magic of the sexual union of the divines, may be wounded and may not proceed in the way that is completely healthy and creative for the all. Because that's what this time is about. This time is about us learning that we are our own twin flame, to love ourselves as God loves us, as we are God. We are Goddess. We are the divine image of the divine, the divines. And so when we come together and we bring that love and we bring that healing, that spreads out to the world. So for my own self, what I've noticed is in these coming together, if there is that past trauma, there are certain things that happen. You may be totally in love with the person and feel totally connected and safe, yet there's certain triggers and certain memories or certain feelings, and unless those are healed, this coming together it needs to be healed. It has to heal. So in that, I'm going to share some of the things that I've learned. Now, we talk about our 7 chakras. In truth, we have a lot more chakras. Now, this is a great book. I also want to talk about the website Al Libris. I'm still learning the YouTube, and so as I post, I'll include websites so that you can click onto them, where you can get some great prices on books, great prices and great shipping prices on books. I found this on there for about $4, and then shipping was about $4. So anyways, new chakra healing. This is great. She goes into the back chakras. Oftentimes also in the spirit world, when you're putting oils and stuff on your body, make sure you put them on the back of your body as well, because you have swirls in the back of your body called chakras that are also functioning. And so in this healing, as we do root, sacral, solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, and crown healing, which is just the beginning, because we have chakras in between that, and we have chakras that go out. We have a whole swirl of chakras, and we have chakras, these chakras in the front link to the back. And so in this healing, root chakra area, root is the groin area, is where children are born, where the seed is for the male. And this is also the place where a lot of people have suffered the experience of sexual trauma. And in this also, the muscles in that area will hold memory. Muscle holds memory, emotional memory. I mentioned this in one of my singing bowl sessions. If you'd like to get some healing where you just kind of step outside of your body, listen to that. That's on here. And just kind of float away and let your body release stuff. And you might find, maybe not that day, but a couple days later, you might find yourself going through emotions or feelings, even tired or grouchy. That's your body literally releasing those old memories after you do that. And so we're talking also about genetic lines of memories. That's why I bring up the divine feminine. We're going way back to a time when women had no worries about walking around. You see pictures of the Egyptians, the women are topless. They're wearing hardly any clothes. There was no worry about things that have happened to children and women and men in this world. Those concepts did not even exist. Words such as male and female didn't really exist. You would recognize it in the name or by looking at that person, but how we saw each other as brother and sister, we saw each other as star beings. We knew we were star beings here in a feminine and masculine divine representation of the divine. Okay, so when we are able to recognize our own survival skills and our own triggers, and let ourselves go through that part that may be hard to digest, hard to digest, hard to talk about, hard to stomach, gives you the creepy crawling. My feeling is like this inner child just like wants to come out of the body because of that feeling, those feelings. So to help release those feelings, to go into the chakras, go into the body, especially into the root chakra, I suggest putting your hands on the front and the back of your body. And even if you get higher up and your hands can't reach, even if you're holding something where you can, say, put a towel back there, bring your hand as close to that area. Imagine that towel or whatever you use, even if it's something warm, like some of us might want to use a heat pack or something like that, hot towel. That as well. Place that on the chakra. Hot stones, that's one of my favorite. On the chakra. And put your hand on the front. Because to connect to our back is literally to connect to our back. It connects us to our past in this lifetime, in this timeline. It connects us to our past and our past timelines. And when we bring healing to those areas, we release those timelines. We heal those timelines. We help to heal the divine feminine. This is where we start having a voice. We have a voice. we have knowing. We have intuition, creativity, sound, song. We have emotion that holds the world, literally, within the womb, within the uterus. And so, and even most of us, even great dads and great moms, have been through something and they haven't really shared it with anyone. Part of the healing is letting it go and sharing it. And so if you are with your divine and you're able to and you're comfortable, let that healing happen. That is the divine feminine. The divine feminine is coming in for a few things. Deep healing, because it's been necessary. As we heal each other, we help the earth heal, because these are things that happen to the earth as well, by us on this planet. And so in this grand healing, we heal the environment and everything. Really, we do. We help this. And so in this coming in, as I was saying in the beginning of this video, how I noticed that women have gone through this for millennia. That's what's kind of interesting. We're kind of used to this and we're ready to start coming together. The women are ready to start coming together. The men are not used to this very emotional, highly emotional, take responsibility, stop treating women poorly, stop treating yourselves poorly. This is everybody, but also women embracing kind of a more analytical and mystique role, so to speak, power. Representation is actually, I like that word, a representation of our knowing and our specific people like me and people, star children, and people that work with energies and the elements and bringing in a way of bringing heaven to earth, or bringing this new mindset of love and acceptance to earth. As we heal, that literally spreads out and out and out and out and out. And so give yourselves time and patience. If actually speaking about it to somebody is too rough, speak with it about it to yourself. You're your own best friend. You can handle anything that you put yourself through. Literally, that's literally, I do a lot of self-talking. One way to look at it is like if you were your own parent or your own big sister, your own big brother, and go there, go to that painful place. And even if you're not at a place of total forgiveness, because I'm learning that there are consequences so far on so many realms, but mostly what I'm seeing is an ancient molestation that happened on into the planet, on into women, on into men, that has now crumbled itself into this weird, sometimes not tasteful misrepresentation of women, sex in general, which is a very sacred act. And I'm not talking about enjoying your freedom with that. I'm talking about men who still call women out of their names and consider a woman who sleeps with a lot of men a slut, a sloot. When we already know it's a double standard. It goes so much beyond that. Like, take responsibility for the fact that y'all have done these things, rather than put the blame on the body of a female. If that was your mother, your sister, your daughter, that's the one that gets me the most. Right? But then there's that whole thing too. There's that whole past that needs to be healed. Right? It really is very, 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 this is, to me, There's another sister on YouTube. I adore her. And one of the things she keeps saying is the divine feminine is coming back to kick ass. And what I think that is to basically say, hey, you guys, as divine, the divine feminine, the man was here to defend. And there is a genetic piece of the man that is represented as the male, who still represents kind of like the patriarchal dominant society, behind the scenes kind of weird, inappropriate sexual behaviors that need to stop it, right? Just stop it. Stop it. You know, stop it. There's all these, and really most of these people represent themselves as like, you know, very spiritual people. And you're missing something. You're missing the connection. You're missing your own connection with yourself, which has been passed down, because even the female hasn't really reached the connection with herself. And when she does, it's kind of scary to other people. That's why all those other names have come up. But that all goes back to the prophetess and the representation as goddess, as the grand creator. Because when you upset the mother, and so in this retribution is literally, it's time for the males to step up. You're man enough to hold a gun and do a fight and to fight and argue about all these things, but you're not man enough to stand up to another man and say, I do not support that. I don't support women getting abused on every Sunday after a football game. I appreciate you standing on a knee for the indigenous. Do you know how many women every Sunday in this country football over football over football? What does that team do for you? What does it actually bring to you in your life? Do those players care about you, what you're doing? They can abuse animals and women and people and still play and make tons of money, and somehow that's justified. You know, I don't want to throw any shade or you know, families coming together and celebrating and loving one another and eating food and having a good time. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about those who actually hold a position of power and influence and don't want to stand up for the female, their own mothers, their own sisters, their own daughters. And stop. How about you donate some of that money to shelters and education? All right, I got off track. But it's true. And it's time. I know, I'm done. Okay, so bringing this back to educating ourselves and ourselves. This is why education is key, because it's about, the more actually you read, the more it's affirmation typically to what you've already been feeling and thinking about history, the truth about who we are and what we're capable of, our healing that needs to be done. I do want to mention this book again, Sound, Color, and Movement. And so through what I was talking about, you can imagine a red color coming into your womb, your genitalia. You know, everybody needs healing. Everyone on this planet, on some way or another. And in this, and then bringing both your hands, you can ohm, you can sing a song, pick a tone. It's amazing. There's a lot of books, a lot of information. I'm going to mention one more book, The Secret Codes of the Universe. And here it talks about sounds as well, and it actually talks about being out of tune and how even the out of tune is tuning. So with that said, I'm going to sing just a little bit. Pick that up a little bit. I went a little deep. And so, thanks for joining. Thanks for listening. Check out those books, The Sibyls. If you want to learn more about the divine feminine, even in our own Bible, if you change some of the wording around, you might see it actually makes a little more sense because it's written by a woman, traditionally, pieces taken out, put in. And in this is the grand healing of the divine feminine, bringing back that knowledge, bringing back that representation and that sovereignty and our truth, and sharing it with the world. So much love and thanks to you and all. Have a grand day. Much love.